Hey, Tom here, FlipAnything USA. So on my blog, I share how I made my fortune in real estate. You guys know that have been watching me for a long time. So I'm pretty excited. I've actually got my first millionaire mentor, mentee, I should say. And, I came out with my book. My book here, if you haven't seen it, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate. It's been a big seller on Amazon and Kindle and Audible now. And, after people started reading that, I got more and more requests for mentoring, which I never really wanted to do mentorship, but, what the hell. Enough people asked, I went ahead and tried, and it blew up. And I've got now hundreds of people that have signed up, and I've got better testimonials than I think anybody out there. In fact, I've even got what would appear to be my first millionaire. I've got Ron Douglas. He's just killed it. He's already bought 27 properties, starting from zero as far as starting his property from the mentorship. He's parlayed that into, I believe, 27 properties, he said now. And he's got $800,000 in equity, and he's put hundreds of thousands of dollars in his pocket, and he's got a hell of a cash flow coming in now too. So we're going to get into that, and I'm going to share with that. Hey, this is live, so anybody got any questions? I'll take any question you have on real estate. I've been doing this stuff for a very long time. Anybody got anything they want to talk about? Hey, Tina, glad you're here. Tina also is somebody commented the other day. I think she just has the book, but she said she's killing it on land. And hey, you know what? We'll make it so you can call in. If you guys want to call in, I'll put a phone number up here and we'll get that thing going too. So give me one moment. Thanks. All right. So, I've got a lot of people signing up. A lot of people are saying, you know what, I've had it. I want to start making some money. They don't know who to trust. There's so much snake oil and so much crap out there. Yeah, thanks, Tina. That people don't know who to trust, and I can tell you right now, just about everybody that I've seen on YouTube, not everybody, but just about everybody is full of shit. There are just so many of them out there. They talk in terms of deals. They say, oh, I've done over 1,000 deals, but they don't talk about how much money they've made. They'll show a fancy car that they drive, but they don't show where the money came from. Where'd the money come from? The money is usually you. It's usually you. And that's not how it is. You want to make your money from real estate. If you're going to learn about real estate from somebody, you want to learn from somebody that started from zero, or at least can point to their fortune and say, yeah, that is from real estate. And that's where I come from. I started in very modest means. I was living in a trailer park with my dad. I had a single parent, and it was. It was about as slow as you can start. A lot of people don't realize that, a half gallon of milk, you put that on the counter, it's good for like 36 hours. It tastes like crap, but it's not going to kill you. But that's what happens when your refrigerator doesn't work. You drink warm milk, or you drink powdered milk, which is even worse, to be honest. But a lot of you can relate to that if you've been on welfare and you got free lunches at school and that sort of thing. Well, that's my beginnings. I came from very modest beginnings, and that I think is the most relevant and important kind of mentor that you need, because you don't need somebody that's a professional at taking your money and using your money to make more money. You need somebody that can actually show you how to make money. And so that's what I do. I bought my first property when I was 19 years old, about a 6,000 square foot. It was like an industrial commercial property. I could show you. I could actually bring it up right now if I wanted to. I could show it to you. But and that was when I was 19 years old. Okay, I had no credit. Okay, you can buy property with no credit. Okay, it helps to have a little bit of money, and I had no money, but it's how you get there. And this is kind of like the guerrilla warfare in making money. I was 19. I just could barely afford rent, and I intended to rent this building in the beginning. But what ended up happening is the agent said, hey, how'd you like to buy it? I said, really, look at me. I got hair down to my shoulders. My eyes are bloodshot. I look like I'm high, even though I'm not, because I had allergies. But the fact is that didn't matter. I never even met the sellers. I never even met anybody in person. And a lot of people have preconceived notions of why things are so hard, and they don't even try. That is the worst, most self-defeating thing you can do. Don't undermine yourself by thinking that you have to, that it's harder than it is. You know what I mean? I mean, people that never swim, they're scared to swim. They start swimming, then the next thing you got to worry about is then they overrate their capacity, and then they worry about, I can swim across this lake, and then they get halfway across the lake and they drown. Well, that's kind of like real estate and investing. I guarantee it, anybody can do it, and anybody can make the right moves. But it's great to have a mentor, okay? Because once you get rolling, you'll start making money, and you'll start making money where you got to be careful you don't overstretch, and that's why my analogy of don't try to swim across the lake or you'll drown in the middle, okay? So you can't get so over-leveraged that you can't handle it. And believe me, I've been leveraged to my teeth. I call it the tail wagging the dog. When I've owned so much property that I can't, like times get tough. I mean, there's been different times. I started in the worst times. When I started, interest rates were coming down from being 15% originally. My first loan was 9.25%. That was from a bank, and that was when I was 27. Everything else from 19 to then was either owner financed, or I had to take a partner, and that's the other thing. Some of you don't have money. Well, welcome to the club. I was there. And what happens is you got to find another resource, right? So look, we all work for somebody, right? Assuming you have a job, you work for somebody. Well, so that was the most logical person for me to go to, was my employer, or my ex-employer in this case. And in that case, I came to him and I said, hey, John, I got this property that's worth $250,000. This isn't my first property. This is a couple down. But it was when I was trying to buy more property. This one was going to require cash. And so I said, hey, John, this thing's worth $250,000. We can get it for $170,000. What do you think? What do you think we can do? And he looked at it. He goes, Tommy, he goes, this is a great deal. And I was buying it. I think I was getting it for like $120,000, and right in there. And he said, but I don't want a partner. And I'm like, well, wait, what do you mean you don't want a partner? And he goes, how about I give you $20,000 and I just buy it by myself? And I'm like, well, that's a fantastic idea. I'm going to have $20,000 today. Now, if I could buy it by myself, obviously I could have recouped maybe, $80,000 profit, but I didn't have my own cash. But 20 and no responsibilities, that's a gift. And that was how I discovered assignments, or what you guys like to call wholesaling these days. So here's the big difference between me and you. I never had a mentor. My mentor consisted of reading books, and I read a lot of snake oil salesman books too, and it got me excited and it got me interested. But usually what I found out is they were full of crap, and that they couldn't answer a question if they had to, because they'd never done it. They're just repackaging existing information. There's been snake oil salesmen for thousands of years. That's just how it goes. But it's real important that you don't throw your whatever capital you have, and I don't care if you have $100 or $1,000 or 10,000 or $1 million. You can be. You got to make sure that money is parlayed in the most productive ways. And I don't care, like I said, if you got zero or if you got several million, I can help you make a hell of a lot more, because I've been doing it. I've been through all those stages already. But what do we got a question here from Frankie here? Sounds like mentee with 1 million profit will be over leveraged with 27. Yeah, Frankie, that's a good point. So Frankie actually just raised a good point. So what he said was the mentee that I just referred to that's got $800,000 equity in $1.6 million. You're right, that's 50-50. Now, I've been more leveraged than that in my lifetime, but it's not horrible. It's not a bad position. Listen, having 50% equity, I would not consider over leveraged. Frankie, consider that when most people buy a property, they're only putting 25% down. People buy a new home, they're only putting 10% down. But me, at my position, I've only probably, I've got about 75% equity. And don't get me wrong, I'll buy a property 100% financed, but that's because I got a bunch of stuff that's already paid for. But if you look at my portfolio overall, I owe pennies on the dollars. It's not that much. I wouldn't call it that. I wouldn't call him over leveraged, but I would say, in fact, I'm glad you raised the point though, because what I told him as I said, you got to be careful. I said, because, things are really good right now, and things will go down. Things will go down. And I don't even know, to be honest, Frank, he's been buying property. He's been in my mentorship for a year. He started buying property almost immediately, and he's done really, really well. But if he was buying that stuff today and that was his margin, then I would agree, because 25% of that can go away pretty quick. But he'd still have 25. He'd still have 400 grand equity, and he'd probably be okay at that point. But again, and I talked to him about this actually, and he said, you know what, I was thinking about actually maybe just selling. I said, well, yeah, sell off everything. Maybe keep the cream of the crop stuff, the stuff that you like for whatever particular reason. I have a lot of property that I don't flip. I flip about 20 to 25% of whatever I'm holding, in general. But, when I buy strip centers, and I just bought a beautiful one the other day, that's for keepers. That's what I'm keeping for cash flow. So there's a big difference. I mean, also in this particular case, Ron's actually bought some really good cash flowing properties. In different parts of the country, there's different opportunities. And that's also why it's good to have a mentor that can help you identify the difference of where you're at, whether you should be flipping that thing or getting rid of it right away, or whether it's actually worthy of hanging on to for cash flow, because that's important. It's stuff you need to know. But to your point, he was seriously considering selling, but the only problem is when you sell, you've got to pay taxes. Okay, and I mean it's a good problem to have, and that's what I tell everybody. I'd love everybody to have, be like, the wealthier you are, the more you bitch about taxes because you pay so damn much, and you also get frustrated seeing your money, being pissed away, the way the government pisses things away. They buy stupid stuff. You see all kinds of crazy stuff being done with your money. So, so Tina, you said you had bought some lots. So if you're still here, be interested in hearing about your real estate. But real quickly here, check this out. I'll go ahead and play this real quick for you. So this is what you see behind me. This is a typical classroom. Okay. In other words, I've got hundreds of people now that have joined, but what I do is every Saturday I do a Zoom class. In fact, if you take the mentorship tonight, you can see me tomorrow morning and we'll be talking, and you'll be in the class. But this is really cool because what you have here is you have, in this image behind me, you have people that have made hundreds of thousands of dollars, as well as people that are, made, tens of thousands, and some people that haven't made anything yet, but they're working. But let me tell you, the motivation you'll get when you come into a classroom like this, and then all of a sudden you find out, wow, this guy's made 10 grand. This guy made 25 grand. This guy made hundreds of thousands of dollars. This guy's about to make a killer deal. And we get on here. We'll jump around to Google Earth and we'll look at the different things that they're in, and and I'll give my assessment of what they should or shouldn't do, and and that's the kind of mentoring that you need. You need somebody that's hands-on, that's going to help you. And believe me, I'm a competitive person. I'm competitive by nature. I take it to heart. I don't want anybody to lose a deal. I mean, I feel like I lost. If you lose, I lose. And if you win, I feel like I won, even though I don't need to take any of your money. But it's been very gratifying for me to see so many people that have made such an impact in their own lives making money, and from my teachings, from the stuff that I've showed them, and it just keeps growing. So, but anyhow, here, let me play this real quick, and you get a glimpse.
5 inches below, it's a super trip hazard. There's some other trip hazards on the sidewalk. So anyway, it's adding up a little bit more and more as I'm doing my due diligence.
This is a gentleman that's
still a good deal.
He's buying a property right now.
After I do all my due diligence, I'm going to need to ask for either a credit or a little bit more money because it's getting to the
speed up.
This parking lot backs up to where there's railroad tracks. Well, the water goes in where all the rocks are, where the railroad tracks, goes into the ground, it flows under the parking lot. And then when there's cracks in the parking lot, water literally comes up through the cracks. But it just washes the sand bed out, and then it weakens the asphalt. And so the asphalt kind of...
We're getting to it.
Hey, before I go on too much, I want to talk to Ron a little bit again. So Ron, why don't you share? Ron has just killed it. This guy's going to be amazed. He just came out swinging from the very beginning. But we chatted over the weekend, and he's now up to $1.6 million in properties with $800,000 of equity, and maybe a little bit more. And he just bought another deal, 7 houses, but I don't even know how many properties. What do you got? 30 properties now, probably. 22
yeah,
or something.
I think
like
I got 27. Yeah, 27 properties.
27 properties. Yeah, 27 properties. Okay, and so but in 1 year, his portfolio has gone from zero, from zero to $1.6 million, and none of his cash. He's got all of his cash back. That's none of his own personal cash is sitting in that. He's got it all back because his typical MO is buy something for 60, put down 10, put another 10 added value, and I know this is rough, but then he refis it, and he pulls his money back out. So he ends up having a property that appraises for double what he paid for it, and he pulls all of his down payment out plus some cash. So of that $800,000, not only did he receive all of your money back, he probably received a little more. Right?
Yeah. I actually looked it up, and you're right, Tom. It was $1 million because I actually made $279,000 last year. So almost $300,000. I actually put it back in my pocket.
Okay, listen, we got to give this guy a round of applause. Okay, this is absolutely first millionaire, first millionaire student. Right on. Yeah. I think Liam's going to be number 2, to be honest. Second.
So anyways, I just wanted to share that with you because this is this is a Zoom class. I do this every when you get in the class, what I try to do with everybody in my mentorship is just fast track you to the fastest way to make money. Not everything I know, but just the stuff that I think is the most relevant way for you to get there. That's what the book's about. That's what my book right here. Get this book. If you don't have this book, just go get it. It's $10. Okay, it's crazy not to spend $10. You can read the first 3 chapters free. Okay, they're available to read or listen to on Audible. And I think if you buy it from Amazon, if you don't like the book, just send it back. Okay, I don't care about the money it's chicken feed. I'm just trying to help my legacy before I go out. Before I'm done, I want it to help as many guys as I can, or gals. I got some gals in the class too. Not that many. 99% men in my class. I want to help as many guys as I can make a fortune to them before I go, because I love it. It's the most rewarding thing you can do to be able to provide for your family. I write checks for college. I write checks for cars. I write checks for houses. I mean, that's the kind of money you can have if you work it. But I've been a full-time investor since 19 years old. And I mean, I don't think anybody works harder than I. And there's some guys that are richer than me. But again, and you know who one of them is? Ben Malla. I love Ben Malla. He sounds just like me when he talks. He's got the same advice he has. And when I hear him speaking and telling people what to do, it sounds like what I would tell him. But it's a totally different experience. But here's the difference. Ben Malla started after me. He's richer than me. And he's a little bit younger than me too. But guess what? He had a mentor. I didn't have a mentor. I had to learn everything the hard way. I learned everything by doing. But Ben Malla is actually a good case for how a mentor makes a difference. Okay, I never had one, but now I had guys that I role modeled. When I say I didn't have a mentor, I had people that I admired that had money, and I looked at them, and they didn't say, "Here, Tom, let me show you how I did it." No, but I'm talking about guys like John Brooks, who's the one who gave me $20,000 by taking that property when I brought him a good deal, and he said, "Here's $20,000." He was somebody I admired. He was rich. He was a wealthy guy, and he was a good-hearted guy too. And there's nothing better than being a wealthy guy and being a good-hearted guy, right? Because then you can be generous. And let me tell you, it's real easy to take the high road. It's really easy to take the high road when you have money. You can be critical of people that steal. You can be critical of people that do certain things, compromise their values, and you have to be careful because people that have less will oftentimes do so. Not everybody. There's some guys that are just as pure as the driven snow, and women that would never do the wrong thing. But guess what? It's a hell of a lot easier to take the high road and be a good guy when you have money, and because you can just throw money at it. You know what I mean? But again, if you make money, it's easy to be a good guy. Okay, so consider that too. But so I just can't tell you. I've been so lucky, and I say lucky. I work my ass off. Don't get me wrong, but you know what? The work that I've done to get as wealthy as I've been doesn't compare to a guy that just works in a job and slaves, 8 hours a day and hates his life and hates his job. I mean, I don't want any of that for any of you. It's even if you have a passion for something that you love to do, okay? Like there's actors that love acting. They don't make crap. They're working in the theater, but they love it, but they're not making any money. But so imagine if you could make some money, okay? And get a passion. I mean, you get a passion, believe me, it'll spark your passion when you start getting into real estate. You read my story. People love it. Read the reviews. There are just tons of them. And, and I've got guys that have been in real estate for 20, 30 years, and they read my book, and they say this is the best book they've ever read. And they talk about how relevant it is, and they've learned something. But that's because I'm telling you, I have lived it and breathed it since I was 19. And believe me, my standards of living haven't changed much since I was 28 when I made my first $1 million. I still just live in I live in a good house, a decent house. It's special in a lot of ways. It's a nice property. But again, I don't drive anything particularly fancy. I have a nice Porsche, but it's not a $200,000 Porsche. It's a $100,000 Porsche. Again, I can tell you everything that you need to do. Is cut your overhead, keep your overhead low. But what's so fragile is that seed capital that so many snake oil salesmen, all these shitcoin, Bitcoin guys are out there trying to get you to take your money. I mean, that's just horseshit. Bitcoin is garbage. Don't fall into that trap of Bitcoin or any of that crap. The temptation to get wealthy overnight or quickly off a coin or, like buying a lottery ticket is very strong. And people that have nothing are the weakest. The people that have the least money are the weakest, most susceptible to being ripped off. And unfortunately, there's a lot of snake oil gurus out there that they could care less if they're taking your last $100, your last $1,000, your last $10,000. They just want it because they get it times 10 or times 1,000. It turns into millions for them. And don't be swindled. I wouldn't want it to happen to you. So let's take a look at some questions here. So we got some activity here. Okay, so Tina G. I read my book. She said, I read the book in one day. Within a month, I had flipped $25,000 worth of lots in Texas Hill Country. That's awesome. That's great. And that's exactly how it starts. And land is one of the easiest, most profitable things you can do. And that's awesome, Tina. I appreciate you sharing that. And she's got more down here later on. Let's take a look. Yeah. She said in the next 30 days, we're due to close on another $120K of land plus flipping an RV. Wow. That's awesome. And that's why I say flip anything, because there's plenty of things of value that you can flip that are not real estate. And I'm talking about just anything you know. If you know diamonds, if you know rings, if you know watches, I don't know any of that stuff. I wish I did. But what I like about rings and watches is that they're very valuable and they're very small. You could warehouse everything in a shoebox under your bed and have $1 million under your bed, for that matter. Where for me, for what I know about machines, and I know about some stuff, but they're all kind of big things. It takes a warehouse to hold $1 million worth of the stuff that I know about. But that's why I love real estate so much. I'll own the warehouse and I'll rent it to somebody else. But let's keep going. So Frankie says, I didn't realize this portfolio was $1.6 million. Average house price here. Oh, yeah. No, yeah, Frankie, he's healthy. And he's a smart guy. Listen, Ron there is a business coach. He actually mentors people in business. And he goes on to say later on in here, he said, Dom, he goes, I just wish I'd learned about real estate 20 years earlier, because he'd be a hell of a lot richer, obviously. Let's see. Bought the book and loved it. And it has informed me greatly. Thanks, Europa TV. Josh, yep. Let's see. Europa says he saved $10,000. Well, you got the book. You can take the mentorship if you want. You get in the mentorship tonight. It's $1,000. Listen, a lot of these sleazy snake oil gurus, they don't tell you what it is. They just say, follow the links below. Go to the links below. And then what happens is you go in there and then they trap your phone number, and then the salesman won't leave you alone. And but I could care less. I don't want to push anything on anybody. Buy my book, don't buy my book. Get the mentorship, don't get the mentorship. It's going to be your loss in the end, but I just implore you to give it a go. Give it a try. Get the book, number one. If the book turns you on, absolutely take the mentorship. Hey, we got Gemini in here. He's also in the mentorship. That's great. And How long will I mentor? You know what? Until it's not fun anymore. Okay, right now it's fun. Believe me, I get high off of people making money. I mean, look at all these smiling faces. Look at the guys behind me; they're all smiling, and it's because they're making money, and if they haven't made money, they know they're gonna make money, and they're happy for each other. It's a fantastic group. I want you to be in the group. Get in it. If you got the money, listen. Especially if you're like 30, between 30 and 50. And assuming that you got 10 grand or 100 grand or whatever you got some money, and a little bit of money, you can afford to spend $1,000 to further your education. Shit, do it. Just do it. It's peanuts. It's peanuts compared to what you're going to learn. And even the people, listen, and look, so to tell you, I got a couple hundred people I think now in my course that have taken it. And this is going on a year and a half or so right now, something like that. Even the ones that haven't made money yet, they know that what they've got is gold. They know they're just going to apply it. They will apply it. They're going to do it eventually. They're not bitter. They don't feel screwed and ripped off, because believe me, I got tons of emails of where people are just absolutely just disheartened that they ever threw money at one of these phony baloney guys that can't answer their questions, that just simply say, here's a stack of paper, it's in there. You know what I mean? That's not how it works, folks. It's not going to work that way. So, look, you know what? We got a phone here. Maybe we can do something. Here, let me introduce somebody to you, by the way. So, look, I'm expanding. I'm trying to make the place a little more quality around here. And so I feel bad when you guys have to listen to my audio and video difficulties. And I know a lot of you guys like the raw field stuff. But, in fact, watch the video today, by the way. There's a video just came out about 11 o'clock today. And it was one of my regular rough field videos. But I've got two great guys now working for me. And they're making things better and making it easier. So hopefully the sound quality, the video quality, everything will be better. But there's some cool work. In fact, the camera work that Ryan did. And then I've got Darius here. Let me show you Darius here, too. Here's Darius. Let me scoot this camera over a little bit. So I just hired Darius, too. So I hired two guys, and I just said, man, just take over the studio. You guys tell me what to do. I don't want to have to ever hook up a computer again. and let me get your mic on. You're hot now there.
Can you hear me?
So, anyways, so Darius is somebody I found. Oh yeah. He's talented. He's got some writing capacities, and he's knows a little bit about audio, video, and editing. And also, likewise, Ryan, who's at the other side of the studio, he's also quite talented. So I anticipate better production quality. But if you get a chance, go take a look at that video we just shot. Oh yeah, the poolside chats. You know what? The poolside chats. Listen. All my palm trees look like hell right now. They all got killed by the freeze. So it's not the most picturesque pool anymore like it had been for a while there. Anyways, Calvin. Hey, Calvin. Calvin, I was bantering with Calvin earlier. He just wrote, even though we don't see eye to eye on shitcoin, I still appreciate your advice and what you do to help people. You're a good dude. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Calvin. I appreciate it. Listen, I don't mind. I disagree and argue with a lot of people. I'm a very disagreeable person in general, but I'm opinionated. But I know real estate, and I know the value of it, and I know the value of the information that is in this book and in my mentorship, and it's a no-brainer that you should take it, and that's why a lot of people are, and that's why you don't see me begging for your business. I don't care. It's your loss. I know it's your loss, and I don't even care if I have tons of people or just the few that you see. I mean, this isn't that few. There's probably 20 people in this classroom that you see behind me, and that's typical, and what happens is 20 roll in, and then some only have an hour, and then other people have to start later. They come in. Everybody comes in and out and rolls through here. I mean, we're a community, and I dig it. It really is cool, and everybody's excited and happy for each other. So listen, if you have $1,000, get in the mentorship, and I'm probably going to raise the price. And in all honesty, I always want to inspire anybody young, because I got in when I was 19. But, I feel sorry for this Generation Z. I call it Generation Zero, because they're just buried in this stupid ass debt that we keep piling on them. And I say we, not me, but our government. You know, I fight them all the time on how I can. But the bottom line is, it just sucks. So you're going to have to do something. You got to make some money. You have to make some money. Anyways, so let me bear with me 1 second here. I want to get these headphones untangled for Darius so he can talk a little bit.
Yeah, good.
All right. So look, let me introduce you to Darius. You're going to see some more of him. He's also going to be handling the social media and helping, you know, whatever, this Instagram stuff and all this other stuff. I'm starting to sound old, I know. I just don't. I'm tired of it. Yeah, I'm tired of it. Anyways, so Darius, how long you been involved with the video?
So I've been in video probably since 2011, 2010. A little bit of more of a backstory. I've been interested in stand-up comedy since I was like 14. And when it was time to go to school, you know, my people were like, okay, we get the comedy thing, but you need something to fall back on, that whole thing.
Sure.
So I just noticed a lot of comedians, they were in radio, television, and film. And that's kind of how it segued into that. But at that same time that I was interested in real estate and the stock market as well. But around that same time, that's when that 08 crash happened. Mm-hmm. So a lot of my people were like, oh, you don't want to do real estate. Oh, you don't want to do stocks, because apparently they lost everything. But
yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. When people lose money, they think that's what it is for everybody. I think that's what it is for everybody. And believe me, I had a grandfather. God, I couldn't even stand to talk to him. I mean, if you told him you bought a fourplex or a two, he'd say, oh, yeah, no, it's terrible. You're going to lose money, you know. Everything was bad, you know. And it was all because he lost money on a duplex back in 1942 or something, you know. Anyways, but so, yeah. So, Darius, this is the thing. I told these guys that are even working for me. I said, look, you know, make some money, obviously working for me, but the real gold that you're going to get is that you're right next to me. This is going to rub off by osmosis. You're going to learn so damn much about real estate. And look at Chris. You guys remember Chris helped me with the channel. Shit, Chris has already bought, I don't know, 4 or 5 properties, probably bought another one since I've last seen him. And that is the difference. So let's see. Somebody got a question. If you had stayed in Southern California, do you think you could have grown your real estate empire at the same rate you did in Texas? You know, JC, I think about that once in a while. I oftentimes think I would have made a hell of a lot more money in California. But who's to say? I probably would have made more money in California. I don't know for sure. Listen, I made a lot of money. I made my first $1 million I made in California anyways. And it really doesn't matter where you're at. The same opportunities that present themselves in California, Texas, any state, anywhere in the world, it's the same opportunities present themselves. As long as you can buy property and resell it, then you've got the same opportunities everywhere, because people die, people, get depressed, people do stupid things, people get rich and sell properties for less than they need to. People, it's just all the same thing. Property turns. It turns. Everything's used. There's no greater money to be made than buying used merchandise and reselling it. Just so you guys know that. If you want an alternative to real estate, buy used and sell it. And that's why I say you flip it. Anything that's been owned by somebody else and paid for by somebody else, there's the benefit of them having it completely paid for and selling it to you very cheap. And that could be cameras, rings, watches. Like I say, as long as it's used, it has the potential to have already been completely paid for. That is your hedge. That is why you can make so much damn money. And guess what? Everything real estate's used. Everything's used. Everything's been here. Everything's changed hands before you're ever going to touch it. It's already changed hands maybe 100 times. That is the reality, but that is the opportunity that's in front of everyone. So let's see here. Hi, in your book, do you talk about technicals? Yeah, Falcon, I've seen you in here before. Just go get the book. Spend $10, buddy. But no, I don't talk about tax liens. I don't even like tax lien stuff. It's a pain in the ass. I've been to tax sales, and what happens is you got a lot of people in the room that are users, meaning they will pay more for the property. They're buying it because it's next door to their mom, or they're going to pay full price for it. So I don't love tax liens. That to me is is one of those things that a lot of the gurus push, and it's bullshit. The opportunities are not there. Listen, a tax lien is like, hey, everybody, come down here and buy it cheap. And guess what? Everybody comes down there, and then it gets into an auction type situation, and it gets overbid. It's horrible. So just get the book, Falcon. It'll answer a lot of questions. $10. If you don't like it, or $20 from Amazon. If you don't like it, I think you can just send it back. Have I seen Jordan Peterson? I've watched a tiny bit of him. I mean, that's a psychology guy. I think you heard me mention him. Delta Zoo just made that comment. He's a young man. Yeah, are you 16 yet, Delta? I don't even know. But anyways, one of the students in my offered to buy him a book, and so I felt like a heel, so I went and sent him a book. I don't like giving my book away free. I don't like giving anything away free, because if I give you something for free, you're going to think it's worth zero, and that's why inherited wealth is so quickly squandered, because it's not earned. People they're given it to them, and then they just think, oh, what the hell? Hey, they gave it to me and my sister. Well, we'll sell it for $100,000, 50 each, or we'll sell it for $200,000. Each get 200, even though it's worth $5 million. And believe me, I've seen that stuff happen. All right, well, happy birthday. You're older than the last time I remember. Somebody also said, actually, it was Darius, was talking about, was you? No, actually, it was Garrett. Garrett is one of my students who called in after he saw me talking on this Bitcoin thing. Or actually, it wasn't the Bitcoin, it's Spencer Cornelia. I did a video on Spencer Cornelia. He talked about how he lost $120,000 at a time where hopefully he should have made $300,000 or $500,000. Nice guy, good guy. You should watch him, Spencer Cornelia. You watch my video of him, and then go look at his other stuff too. He's an interesting guy. Anyways, and he was brutally honest talking about his losses. But one of the critiques that I made about him is I say your standards are too low for profit. I mean, he's thinking, there's a killer profit because there's $40,000 there. That's not a killer profit. $40,000 is nothing. You got $40,000 on a purchase of 100. Don't get me wrong. A $10,000 can be a killer profit if you're spending $10,000 to make $10,000. If you're flipping it, if it's a piece of land, you're doing it quickly. It can be killer. But he was buying a property out of state that needed work, doing a rehab, buying it for 60, hoping to sell it for 170. And so, but he had to put 60 in it, and it turned into just the kind of nightmare you could see coming from the very beginning. And you'll see, I caught a lot of things in there that most people wouldn't if they hadn't had experience. But the bottom line was, we're in this business to make money, okay? Money is a tool. You don't put out $100,000 to make 10. You don't put out $100,000 to make 20. You put out $100,000 to hopefully make about $100,000, okay? Or you put out $20,000 to make, at least 40, 50 grand if you can. You have to treat it like a tool, but raise your standards. Don't be satisfied with so little. You think it's a lot of money. It's not a lot of money. And let me give you an example. In his situation, first thing I'm thinking, well, you got $40,000 you're going to make? Well, not really, because on a $150,000 property, when you get an agent, you get it listed, you're going to lose 6% if you typically list it the way you normally have to. So there's $10,000 right off the top. So now your $40,000 is really 30. Okay, but now let's wait a minute. The market, you're waiting. You've got time. You're doing your rehab. That's interest. Interest is eating you up. So there's another $10,000 in interest, also. And then when somebody wants to buy it, they're going to beat you up a little bit. They're going to ask you for, can you replace this? Can you fix this? We notice this is wrong. And so, in other words, it was a nightmare from the beginning. So, but if there was $100,000 margin there, or $150,000 margin, you wouldn't sweat the $10,000 fee. You wouldn't sweat, when you sell the property, give them a carpet allowance, give them $10,000 for carpet, because you can be generous. As long as the delta is quite large that you're going to make money on, you have the ability to be generous. You can sell it under market quickly. You can sell it, and people want you to pay for the title policy or whatever. This is something like that, or they want you to give them a fix the air conditioner or whatever they want. You have enough money there, you can kind of throw it away and make the deal close, and everybody's happy. That's why you got to have a decent margin of profit, and you got to keep your standards high. You have to know that you want to make a large profit, so that you can withstand the tough times, or if things start to drop, that's your hedge. You can sell it for less than you paid for it. So look, hey, let's talk about some fake gurus. Who out there right now? Who do you point to? Who do you think of as being fake? I mean, who do you think should be looked at a little closer? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Anybody that stands out to you, or that you'd like to know more about? Because let me tell you some of the telltale signs of people that start to smell is when they don't talk about how much money they made, or if they don't talk about details that matter, or when they talk in terms of deals. Like, I've done 10 deals. I did 20 deals. He did 30 deals. But they don't quantify it by how much money they made. That begins to stink, because why wouldn't you say, oh yeah, I did 10 deals and I made $1 million, or I did 10 deals and I made, whatever, $100,000. If you don't quantify it, there's a reason. You must not be very proud of it, or it must not be very good. Okay, Calvin just wrote here, I inherited $1 million once, went to Vegas, gambled, bought women, bought booze, and a Lamborghini. And then you squandered the rest. Aha, very funny. Okay, yeah, well, I know a guy, his wife made him a millionaire, actually. And a lot of people want to know what he did before that. Before that, he was a multimillionaire. So, anyway. Let's see. Joshua Fabia, huh? Grant Cardone, yeah. Grant Cardone, geez, yeah. Listen, Grant Cardone, Grant Cardone is a good salesman. And in some ways, he's like me. He's uneducated. Okay, he's uneducated, and he's got a lot of confidence because he's a good salesman. He knows how to 10 times it, or with people work hard and all that. I don't think he knows crap about real estate. But what he does know is he can sell, and he gets people to invest money, or not anymore. He's not asking for any money anymore. But the idea that he can, help you through a real estate deal, I don't think so. Let's see. Ricardo Joseph, there are quite a few Airbnb gurus on YouTube right now. Yeah, well, I don't claim to be an Airbnb guru by any means. I definitely rent. I like buying property under market and renting it. Airbnb has a lot of issues right now. There's an area I like a lot in California, Manhattan Beach. I rent a beach house there just about every year, have for about 20 years. And the problem is they outlawed Airbnbs there. So a lot of people were making a lot more money on these Airbnbs, which made the values of the property go up, and now they've been outlawed. So all of a sudden they've had their legs cut out from under them, in as much as being able to do the Airbnbs. So, some of these smart guys are probably the ones that lease the property and then have the right to sublet, which, by the way, I don't know anybody that's made as much money as I have. If you look at my video on re-renting, you'll see that I got a building. I rented it for $3,000 a month, and then I subletted it to another company for $20,000 a month. And then later on, it was $25,000 a month. But anyhow, I made $1.5 million on a property I never even owned, and I did it all on rent. I was making about $240,000 a year profit just on renting somebody else's building out to somebody else. Okay, so let's keep looking here. Third Eye, how much do you need to get started? 0. Is that enough? Listen, the more money you have, the easier, of course, it is. But also, the more money you have, the easier it is to lose. If you don't know what you're doing, you're better off starting with 0. Morgan Smith, not fake. I would like to know what you think about R.E. Tipster's channel. He buys and sells land. R.E. Tipsters. I don't know. Morgan, I'll come back and maybe take a look at him. Third Eye, let's see. We already answered that. Sebastian, hey, it's good to see you in here. So Sebastian's right. He says, hey, Tom, I have a potential. How's that? The seller, a house that the seller wants $85 for the house. but my excuse me, my MDA is 40. I don't even know what that means.
I think he might be saying max allowable offer. Is that what he's asking?
Your max MOA. Yeah, you guys got all this terminology that I don't even want to know it. Okay, but your MOA is 40. Any advice? Your maximal? Well, then offer 40. Shit. Listen. You got to take it. Just offer what you got. If you can't do any better, just offer what you got. You can't offer more than what you have, right? You just make your best offer and just stand on it. It's always good to be with confidence. You say, look, I'll give you 40, and that's it. I can't give you any more. It's not worth any more. It needs too much work. You're there. You're with the property. One of the things I like to do when somebody's particularly proud of their property and they want more than I think it's worth is what I do is I say, well, let's look at the numbers. I say, you want 200 grand or 300 grand or whatever it is. I go, okay, I'm going to put $60,000 down. Okay, this balance, how am I going to make this mortgage? Maybe maybe the rents aren't high enough and maybe they, run the place poorly. And so their numbers aren't very good. So I use their numbers against them. I go, I can't even pay the mortgage with the shitty rents that you don't get enough rent. You don't get enough rent. I can't pay this mortgage. And so it makes me think, oh, now I'm not insulting them. I'm not insulting the property. I'm just saying this is fiscally impossible. Okay. There isn't enough money to cover the mortgage. Now, there may be when I raise the rents, but I'm not going to talk about that. What I'm going to talk about is right now, the way it is, I can't pay you as much as you want for it. And a lot of times they go, okay, you know what? Hell with it. And then they knock it down. And, you'll learn how to, listen, I've been doing this 40 years. I've seen so many different scenarios and so many of them are different. But they're similar. They just need to be nuanced just a little bit differently, each one. And that's why it's good to have a mentor, somebody to help, throw it back on this. And believe me, when you've been there, done that, it's a lot easier. Yeah, I figured that, Sebastian House. Okay, hope that answers your question. So third eye, do you have to have a lot of connections to find buyers besides, no. It's all simple, folks. Just look at all these squares behind me. Okay, if I buy one of these properties in this neighborhood, all I got to do is put a sign back on it because somebody that's looking in this neighborhood, they're going to be driving through. They're going to identify, oh, there's property for sale. So finding buyers is easy. You just put a sign on the property. And if you're concerned that, you need a little more help, then get an agent. And then it goes into the MLS, then everybody is going to know about it. It's really, really simple. Ricardo Joseph, how important is credit if you don't have capital? Currently 31-year-old full-time student with poor credit. Okay, it's not ideal. Your situation is not ideal for sure. And you should work on clearing that up as fast as you can. But it's not the end all. Listen, I started when I was 19. I didn't have bad credit. I had no credit. Okay, it's the same thing. Nobody's going to loan you money when you don't have any history of buying property or buying real estate or having any assets, which I did not at that time. But in that case, I got an owner-carried note, and I had no money. And so I made a deal, though, that I would buy it with $10,000 down, but we agreed that for a 6-month escrow. Now, most people say, nobody's going to go for that. Well, guess what? They went for it. So I got a 6-month escrow. And then I made them worry about graffiti. I said, you know what? The place has been graffitied. Can I move into the property? Or I didn't say move in. I actually literally moved in and slept in the place for 6 months too. But I said, if it's okay, I said, I'd like to take possession of the property so I can keep the thieves and, so people don't break the windows and do graffiti. And they said, okay, yeah, no problem, 6 months, and you can have access right away. Well, first thing I did was turned on the lights, moved in, and I stopped paying rent wherever else I was. And now over the 6 months, this is my first property, I didn't have to pay rent. I was rent-free for 6 months. And that's how I scraped together the $10,000 that I needed for the down payment. And within a week or two after buying it, I went out front. I was going to pull the for sale sign that was still in front of it. Some guy stopped by and said, hey, what are they on for the building? And I said, well, I just bought it. And he goes, what'd you pay? And I told him, and he said, I'll give you 20 grand more than you paid for it right now. And I said, I was excited. I was happy, but I had plans on opening a cabinet shop there, so it wasn't practical. But I was keenly aware that I just made $20,000, assuming this guy was serious, and that's what put me on a road to. I started looking at property everywhere around me, and if you guys watch me long enough, and you should, be sure to share. Hit that subscribe button, by the way. I promise you, I will never lie to you. I'll never mislead you. I only want to help people that want to make money. I'm, you'll see I can collaborate with a lot of snake oil people, but I don't. I'm just, I'm on the people side, right? I'm on the people side. I'm on the side. I'm on the side of the people. I don't want you to get ripped off. I'm not on the side. Let's just go after the masses or the asses. Let's take their money. It's easy to do. Again, because I have money, it's easy to take the high road. So let's keep looking at what we got here. Ricardo wrote, I got $400,000. Oh my God, $400,000 in student loans. I feel you. Wish I never became a doctor. Yeah, I know, man. That's tough. Yeah, and I'll tell you what's really bullshit about these educational institutions, these universities, is you go to borrow that money and the government loans it to you, right? Well, a lot of these loans go bad. And what they should do is the university, they have billions of dollars, some of them, in their bank accounts. And they have to pay somebody to get them, they pay hedge fund managers to, get them, 3 or 4% a year on their money. They can let the universities fund these loans. Let the university loan the money out. I guarantee you they wouldn't be doing as many loans probably. Because right now they don't have to worry about them going bad. They say they take students, the students get the loans, they get the money, the student drops out, they still got the money. So anyways, that's one of the things that pisses me off. So let's see, Max, I'm having a hard time finding a good deal in the greater Seattle area. Homes that were cheap, around $400K in 2018. Well, that's a perfect storm, buddy. When you have properties that jump from 400 to 600, and I got the same problem, if you want to call it a problem here. So what's good about this is, well, do you have my book, Bruce? Let me know if you have I already know you don't, but let me know for sure that you don't. And I'll get back to you. Third Eye Master, I see what you mean by the sign, but if you have someone you are doing a whole assignee contract, acting as the middleman, if you put a sign in their yard while you're okay, look, this wholesale stuff doesn't really appeal to me. I know FlipMan, he's a friend of mine, and he does this stuff. It's a hard road, okay? I've never had to do that. When I go into contract to buy a property, it's because it's a damn deal. It's a deal. It ain't going to be hard for me to, I can just put an ad in the paper. Craigslist is a wonderful place too, but you can find somebody that'll buy you out of that. You can go to a real estate agent. So let's just say all these squares around me are houses, and you were lucky enough to get a great deal from, this square here. This person here is going to sell you their property cheap. You got it under contract. There's like 40 grand you can make or 50 grand you can make. So what do? You look around the neighborhood and look for the agent that has a sign. And when you see a real estate agent sign, call that agent immediately and say, hey, listen, I got a property I'm buying. Just tell her, say, look, I got a property I'm buying in the neighborhood. Do you have anybody? She's going to have 10 people that want that property because she's showing it. She has all these people coming to them. And that's when there's the opportunity. You go to that agent and say, yeah, look, I'll give you, a few grand if you connect me with somebody that'll buy it. So they come in, she connects you to the money. That person buys it. You get your assignment fee. They get a hell of a deal. They're going to buy it under market. The agent gets a piece of the action. She gets a little bit of money. Everybody makes money. It's just common sense. Just use your head. Think about it. This is the neighborhood. Of course, people that are interested in this neighborhood drive through it. They're going to see a sign. In your situation, you can't put a sign up. I understand. So you go to the agent. You go to an agent that has signs up and is selling properties in the same neighborhood. And you talk to her and you say, look, I got a property here. And they'll say, oh, great, I got somebody. And then you're done. You take your assignment fee and go. Okay. So Mac, I'm in Seattle area. It's insane. So, listen, it's a good that and Double E, you just bought the book. I know you just bought the book because you've been watching for a long time, and you told me you bought the book the other day. Hope you did. Anyways, you don't have to worry when property values go up quickly like that. Most people's mindset is on last year's values. I mean, even my properties, I don't know exactly what they're worth today. I don't check them every week, every month, every year. I mean, a lot of mine I'm just keeping. When I go to sell them, then I do my due diligence, make sure I know what they're worth, and then I sell them. But most people don't. So somebody might have it in their head that this property is worth $400,000, and now today because you've been looking, the stuff that goes on the market is $600,000. Well, go directly to the owners that don't have signs up, that aren't selling their property, and say, hey, do you want to sell? And you would be surprised how many of them will come back and say, yeah, I do. What do you give me? And you say, 400. Or you can say, well, what do you sell it for? What would you like? And then they say, well, we'd sell it for 400. And you go, you know what? That sounds fair. Let's make a deal. And you write it up and you buy it. And this is all the while time that it's worth 600. Now, never feel bad buying a property under market. And I'll tell you why. Property values can drop. Because somebody said, Tom, don't you feel bad buying property under market? I go, no, not particularly, because I've had property. I've seen crashes. I've seen property values go way down. And if you hold on to things long enough, you'll see, if you're in real estate long enough, you'll see things you never thought you'd see. This pandemic is a new one for, escalating prices. In 2008, the banks froze. Nobody could borrow money. That was hard on real estate. Before that, the interest rates were higher than hell when I first started. Think about this. My first house I bought 9.25% interest on a house I paid $145,000 for. Okay, that's like, that would be like somebody today, buying a $900,000 house. Okay, or a $500,000 house, I should say, because my interest rate was 3 times higher. I was paying as much on $100,000 as you would pay today. Or even more. I was paying even more than 3 times as much, almost 4 times as much. It makes a big difference. So people say, that was the good old days. The good old days, the interest rate was higher than hell. It's not the good old days. These are the good old days. Trust me, these are the good old days. Because these are good. Believe me, I made money then, I'm making money now. But these are the good old days, okay? Make your money now, and then in 10 years you can go back, oh yeah, that was great back then, but it's still going to be great if you know what you're doing. So, okay, let's keep going. Okay, Delta. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Listen, guys, get my book. Mac, you didn't answer. Do you have my book, Mac? E, I know you do. Delta, if you were 19, how would you attract investors? With a deal. That's the deal. You go find a deal. You go find a piece of property that's a good deal, and the investors will flock to you. And like I was saying, just go to an agent, and she'll put you in touch with an investor, and then now you'll know one. Okay, E. I got your audiobook, a third into the audiobook, all of it, only part of your book. Okay, so you hadn't got through it. Only takes 3.5 hours. Just listen to it while you're doing surgery. Okay, so Bishop Mayberry. Hi, Tom. I have this deal of a property that was sold in 2017 for $1.275 million. It's being auctioned in 3 weeks with a starting bid of $1 million. The only thing is that the winner has to pay 30 days. Yeah, they're also probably going to require that he can show that he can financially pay for it. So if it's a typical auction, you got to show that you can pay for it. So, yeah, I mean, $1 million to make, $250. I mean, I don't even know if there's enough meat on the bone there for me, but you have to make that judgment yourself. And starting bid at $1 million, yeah. There's a lot of auctions out there. I wouldn't even worry about it, Bishop, because it's an auction. They're advertising it. A user's going to come in and likely pay full price for it. So I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't mess with it. There's other deals. There's other fruit to be picked. Trust me. But get my book if you don't already have it. Never mind, you just explained it. Yeah, Delta, I thought so. Thanks for saying that. I'm glad you caught that. And Bishop, you have, yeah, well, listen, don't buy it. Listen, you got $450,000. Shit, just go look, go buy, 3 small houses, or go buy, it doesn't have, like I said, houses, duplexes, lots, commercial, anything. Just get educated on the stuff that's all around you. You guys know, I don't concentrate on any one particular thing, land, houses, whatever. I kind of look at everything, in my neighborhood, in my area. Stuff that I can drive by, just like I'd be driving streets all around these squares, if these were all houses and streets in between. And then I get to notice something when something doesn't look right. And that usually leads to an exceptional deal. It's just been consistently that way for 40 years I've been doing this stuff. So, yeah, well, Bishop, you got a good problem. $450,000. There's no reason you can't, double or triple that in the next couple of years. Okay, third eye master. So can you summarize briefly a transaction then where you use no money of your own that is realistic? Sounds like if you have money for down payment, but if you don't and are new and don't know it. Okay, so look, I don't protest to everybody that, you can make money with nothing, okay? It's always better to have a little bit of money if you have some money. If nothing else, it gives you a little bit of confidence because you have some money. But if you can find a deal, okay, so you need knowledge. That's the main thing, because it doesn't matter, I'm rich, you're poor, and I don't have a deal, you don't have a deal. If I get a deal, I'm going to buy it, and you're not going to hear from me. If you get a deal, you're going to say, hey, Tom, I got a deal. And it's going to be like my John Brooks story. I'm going to say, wow, that's a great deal. There's $100,000 to be made. Here, I'll give you 20 and I'll go make 80. That's how you do it. You're going to hand it off to somebody else that has more money than you. And you're going to get a piece of their action, basically. And then you're going to do that enough times that pretty soon you've got your own cash. Now you can either pay cash for something smaller, or you got enough cash that a bank will take you seriously, and you can put that cash down and buy something and borrow at the same time. Yeah. Listen, Double E, will prices go down? Yeah, prices will go down. That I'm sure of. I don't know how drastically, how fast, but they're gonna level off, and then they're gonna start going down. That I'm 100% confident of, at least on these houses and things. But what I would say is they're going to go down, but don't let that scare you. You buy under market. You can buy enough under market that even if they go down, you still have a nice margin of profit. So, yeah, don't worry about that. But just get through the book, number one, and I'm definitely somebody, people say, well, I want to get my wife involved, or I want to get my friend. I say, listen, you got to make it your own passion. You don't need anybody else. You don't want anybody else. If you get anybody else involved, it's like you're a cripple. You need a crutch. You don't need a crutch. You just be self-motivated. You don't, the applause is the cash, right? The applause when you're doing a good job is your bank account. You're going, oh shit, look at this money. That's the applause. You don't need any attaboys from your wife or a buddy, and believe me, it's just I don't particularly enjoy partners. If a partner to me, I have one partner, and that's a rare exception, but and he's a minority partner. He's somebody I let put in 1/3. I put in 2/3, and that's, if you're going to be a partner, be a 1/3 partner, where somebody else is smarter than you and does all the work, because that would make you the smarter person, but they might be smart at real estate. So anyhow, Double E, thanks for the chat. I have to get to the clinic and treat patients. You got to get on the phone, right? I thought you're telemedicine now. Anyways, thanks for coming in, Double E. I appreciate it. Please get through that book. What's your opinion on investing in smaller? It doesn't matter, Sebastian. You can make a fortune in a small town. I know a realtor that made over $40 million in commissions just selling real estate, and it wasn't a big city. And believe me, the people that were doing and I know one guy in that same city made $5 million on one deal because of the stupidity of the sellers and the agent. I don't know. When you say power team, build a power team. Listen, I am not. I'm a one man show. But if you're talking about hiring good people to help you, I do hire good people to help me for the different things. Hey, thanks, Morgan. Thanks for coming in. But hey, so look, if you guys just got here, my name's Tom McKay. I've been investing in real estate for 40 years. I've been doing a YouTube channel and helping people the last 4 years for free. Wrote a book last year. It's been a bestseller, and now I do mentorship. And of course, I charge for it, but it's peanuts compared to what it can make you. So if you're interested, go to FlipAnythingUSA.com for that. And or you can also get my book right here, which is the best 10, 20 bucks you'll ever spend. That I promise you. Anyways, it's kind of getting, I'll take a couple more questions and I'm going to wrap it up. Yeah, hey, I love commercial. I love office. I'll tell you right now, office, I would beware of the office stuff. The offices, oh, I see. Yeah, you're talking about subs. I got you, James. Yeah, I've got good subs of all kinds. I got a civil engineer right now that's working on adding 60,000 square feet to a retail center that I'm buying. But anyways, what I was going to say is get involved. Like even right now, you're watching this and you're hearing questions from other people that are involved. This is motivating for you, okay? If you can afford it, I mean, get my book. That's a no-brainer. Everybody can afford that. Get my book because it's real, okay? You need somebody real. You don't want somebody selling you theory, okay? And if you can afford it, then get the mentorship. Get in the mentorship. Meet these guys that you see behind me. And you will be so motivated when you see the money that other people are making and they're going to hit some of the problems that you're hitting. You're going to see how they overcame them. And, listen, I can't tell you how much I enjoy seeing other people make money because of my influence. It's a wonderful thing. So everybody here, everybody here, hit the like button right now. Just hit the like button, please. Helps the channel. And if you think about it, go into comments and throw down a comment, and or like somebody else's comment or something like that. Helps build the channel. I appreciate it. I love sharing, and I'm always here to help how I can. But that would help me if you can help me. That would be appreciated. I am going to call it quits here, and I'll take another question if everybody's got one. But I think we're getting close. But main thing is man, just do something. Take action. If you're not where you want to be financially, then do something different. You can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. And I had a guy just sign up to mentorship yesterday, and I think he said he's 43, making $200,000 a year, and I said, dude, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. Just sign up. So you want me to give you a call? I'll give you a call. And next email back, say, hey, I signed up. And it is a no-brainer. Listen, even if you're making $50,000 a year or whatever, just sign up if you can afford it. Even if you're making $30,000 a year, it doesn't matter. If you can afford it, you can afford it. If you can part with $1,000, you can. I kept my overhead so low when I was young. I mean, I lived in a place I paid $125 a month for, and it was a house, believe it or not. It was a shitty house, but it was a house. But the bedroom was so small that when I moved my waterbed, I had a waterbed, and my waterbed wouldn't fit in the room. So I had to cut 6 inches off the side rails and make the waterbed smaller. And it actually touched 3 walls inside the bedroom. So, but, you sacrifice, you don't need a new car. You don't need a fancy car. You don't need to wear the best clothes. None of that shit's important. What's good is that you feel like that you feel good inside, right? Feel good. I feel good with money in the bank. I feel good owning assets. Even if I don't have particularly a lot of cash, as long as I'm accumulating assets and those assets I know are growing. And because believe me, I remember my buddy, it was back when I was 28, and I still had my cabinet shop, and my buddy comes over and he says, Tommy, he goes, you still own that? I go, yeah. And you own that over there, right? I go, yeah. He goes, and this other thing you own? I said, yeah. And what about, and he started naming off a lot of my assets. And I said, yeah, I still own. And he goes, why are you even working anymore? And I said, you know what? That's a good point. And it made me realize I don't need this shit anymore. I don't need to work. I was self-employed. I was happily self-employed. And then to top it off, I had a customer come in because I had a showroom. I had a cabinet shop. So you walk in my showroom and there was a kitchen cabinet display. Well, this guy comes in. I was in a good mood. And he said, hey, how much for a light frame? And a light frame is just a piece of wood that looks like a frame up on the ceiling, and then you put a shield over it and lights are in it. And I was in a good mood. I said, I don't know, $160. And he goes, $160. He goes, $160, I can make it myself. I'm like, open the door, and I said, well, go make it. See you later. And I was actually a little ruder than that, but I kicked him out. And I thought, you know what? I've been in this business too long. 9 years, 8 months, I had that cabinet shop, and I was a millionaire from real estate, not from cabinets. I didn't need this shit anymore. And so and coincidentally, I looked in the newspaper within a week or two later. On the cover of the front cover of the newspaper, it said, had business broker. I go, business broker. Never even thought about somebody could sell my business. And this guy, T.C. Williams, I will never forget him. T.C. Williams says, I said, hey, come on over and take a look at this. And he comes over, and he wasn't even that very experienced of a guy. And he was an old guy. He was a black dude, and I couldn't tell how old he was because he looked so good.
That's how that works.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. And he wasn't very gray. But the reason I knew he was old, is that while we're talking about real estate, he kept scooting up on his chair. And I'm talking to him about it. I said, look, I'll sell the place. I want $250,000, $100,000 down, and the $150,000 I'll carry, but I want it secured by a piece of property or something. I said, but you got to make sure they have $100,000 before I talk to them. I don't want to talk to anybody that has $100,000. So a week later, he said, hey, he goes, I got 3 people. I go, do all 3 of them have $100,000, TC? And he goes, let me call you back. And so he calls me back. He goes, I got 2 people. Okay. So then he says, I go, okay. And I said, now they got assets. I said, I'm not going to secure the business. When I sold the business, I didn't want the business to be secured by the business, what I was carrying. I wanted it to be secured by their home. I didn't want to take the business back. If they rented it in the ground, I didn't want the business back. So I said, and they got property, they got assets. I don't have to, they can secure the note. He goes, let me call you back. Calls me back, goes, I got 1 person. And so I said, okay, bring them over. Well, they come over, and again, inherited wealth. This couple comes over, and she had inherited like $600,000 from her dad, and they wanted to buy a business, and he supposedly was a manager. So basically, she bought the business for the husband, and they ran it into the ground, and I never had to get it back again. But yeah, anyways, there's more to that T.C. Williams story, but I'll save that for a Zoom class. If you get in Zoom, I'll tell you more about T.C. It's pretty funny. Let's see, back onto some questions here. I've always been afraid for real estate, but want to learn it. Yeah. Listen, buy the book, Third Eye, then swear it. Next time I see you in here commenting, if you haven't bought the book, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Okay, but get the book. It's because it just answers so many questions. It'll give you confidence. It simplifies it. You'll see. Okay, James Walker, will you do video on the changes to 1031 exchange? Yeah, James, they haven't changed yet. And I don't even know that's, Biden, of course, listen, Biden's brain dead. I think he has dementia. In fact, sometimes I think I should sue Jill Biden for elder abuse. The whole Democratic committee should be sued for elder abuse because the guy is like just a walking empty vessel. If you saw him the other day on TV, somebody asked me, I'm not supposed to answer any more questions. Sorry, I'm not supposed to answer any more. This is the commander-in-chief. Who's his boss? I mean, shit, it's pathetic. Anyways, James Walker, based in the UK, but I'm intrigued and obviously helpful to the U.S. audience. Buy and hold seems a trajectory. James, it doesn't matter. I mean, listen, if you hold, you're a speculator. Chances are it's going to go down, depending on, it's going to go up. Like right now, everything that I have is up, way up. And it's going to go down, and that's okay. I'm not selling all of it, but the stuff that I plan on selling, I'm getting rid of it because I'm near the peak. If you're near the peak, get rid of it. Make your money. But if you think you're going to plan on selling the next 3 years, I would say just sell it right now. 3 or 5 years, just sell it right now because it's not going to go much up, and it's probably going to go down a little bit. So you're close to the top for sure. Do you share secret tips to No, I share secret tips to everybody in the mentorship. In the mentorship, I do share a few secret tips for sure. And but the best thing you have going for you in the mentorship is you actually have me helping you. I mean, I'll make a phone call for you. I'll try to do whatever I got to do. I want to see you make the money. James Walker, we have Boris. I'm not sure who that. Oh, yeah. I think I know who you're talking about now. Yep. Yeah, I forget. Boris yeah, I know who you're talking about. Anyways, so look, I'm going to wrap it up here, but I want to introduce you to Darius. So you'll be seeing more of him. We're going to get this audio-visual stuff squared away. Cheers, James. Thanks for coming in. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate everybody coming in here. Tina, I think you're probably gone by now, but Tina, we'll definitely need to get you on video. You can be a testimonial for the money you made just using the book. I got so many testimonials I haven't even put out yet. But you can go read a bunch of them. You can see some videos on them. Really, really real people, just like you, people that like me that aren't very educated that are making money, and some that are more educated. Like Double E is going to be. He's a doctor, but he owes a shitload of money on his loans, but he's going to make it up. But anyways, so hey, thanks for watching. Again, please hit that subscribe button, and if you think about it, go into the comments and say some nice things, and it'll help the channel. I'd appreciate it. Thanks. Good to see you again, Delta. You're going to be great. You're 17, pretty soon you'll be 18. You can be buying property. Keep it up. Take care.